At the time that I launched my fitness program, my blog was getting 20 to 30,000 views per month through Pinterest and SEO traffic. And I thought to myself, well, my blog is about home fitness. Surely if I plug in a few blurbs about my program and create prominent links to the program, I'll get lots of sales. This was not the case. Hi there, it's Corey here. I'm a writer, blogger, and content creator, and it's my mission to share with you everything I know about how to make money online with your content and the best tools for doing so. I'm an affiliate for some of the products and services I talk about in my videos, and there are affiliate links in the description box below. And this means that if you make a purchase after clicking on one of my links, I may earn a commission. Okay, so you are here because you are interested in creating a course, because you've heard at some point that it is a lucrative way to diversify your income stream and make more money. And this is true in the sense that online courses can be extremely profitable, and there's lots of people out there creating six-figure businesses from them. And the nice thing about courses is that once you create it, you can totally automate the whole thing so that you continue to make sales month after month as you sleep. But obviously, it's not as easy as that, or else everyone would be a millionaire course creator. So what does it really take to create an online course, and is it actually worth your time to make one? So I have a little bit of experience on this topic in that I've created quite a few digital products over the past few years, some of which started out as courses and then became something else. And last month, I soft launched my new email marketing course called FSP Email Lists to all my Patreon members. And side note, if you're interested in getting started with email lists, that's now available in my digital shop, which I'll link to below. I'm also working on an AI writing course, which I'm hoping to roll out in the next couple months. There are lots of things that I've learned from doing this, and I feel like I have a pretty good perspective on this as someone who's kind of your average content creator. So here are a few lessons that I think anyone who wants to create their first course should know before getting started. Number one is build an engaged audience. This is my number one piece of advice because your community is kind of the foundation for everything else that you do in your business. It's where you're creating a space where people can come to know you and your content and what you have to offer. Experts call this the know, like, trust factor. And this community can take several forms, including email lists, medium.com, or social media platforms like Facebook groups, YouTube subscribers, or TikTok. And I would say out of all of those, an email list is going to yield the highest conversion rates. And this is because it's an audience of people who have willingly joined your list, which means that they want to hear from you. Now, some people will tell you that you don't need a community to build a successful product, and that might be true. But you would probably need to involve ads or otherwise have some kind of killer sales funnel to convert a cold audience. And I would wager that most first-time product creators don't really have that skill set. At least I certainly didn't. And I tried doing that. I tried doing Facebook ads and Pinterest ads, and I even took expensive courses learning how to do both of them. And to be honest, I ended up wasting a lot of money. And again, I'm not saying that it can't work or doesn't ever work. I'm just saying it's an unnecessarily expensive route to take when you can make sales organically without using any ads just by taking the time to build a community. And yes, it does take time to build up that audience, but I promise you it is worth the effort. And community building is a whole other kind of topic in and of itself. So if you'd like to see a more in-depth video about that down the road, please let me know in the comments. But in a nutshell, it really just comes down to choosing a couple different platforms and then creating valuable content that demonstrates your authority in your niche. All right, tip number 2 is to do your market research. And this kind of goes for any kind of digital product you create, whether it's a course or a printable or an ebook or whatever. And actually, you'll find that most advice in this video will apply to all different types of digital products. But one of the worst things you can do as a creator is to make a course or a product that no one needs or wants. And even if you think you know what your audience wants, you really do need to obtain some concrete evidence to ensure that you're not wasting your time. Now, if you're anything like I was, you hear the words market research and instantly want to throw in the towel because it sounds boring, it sounds like something complicated that you would need like a marketing degree to do properly. But it actually doesn't need to be a complex process at all. Direct feedback from your audience is the best way to tell if your course or product idea is viable or not. So when I'm thinking about designing a course or a product, I usually go about it in one of the following ways. The first is through audience comments. So these could be comments on your social media platforms or on your blog posts. I look for patterns in the kind of questions people are asking and the common problems that they seem to be having over and over again. In some cases, I've literally had people flat out ask me to make a course on a certain topic. Validation doesn't get any clearer than that. Another way to research ideas for your product is to take a poll. So for example, every month I run a poll on my Patreon to find out what topics they want to learn about. And a couple months ago, they indicated that they wanted to learn more about email marketing. And that's how FSP email lists came about. But you can take a poll anywhere. You could run a poll through your email list or through a Facebook group, or if you're a YouTuber, you could run a poll in the community tab. Now you see why it's such a leg up to build an audience before you start creating courses. And that's not to say it's impossible to do market research without an audience. For example, when I created my beginner fitness program a couple years ago, I checked out reviews of other fitness programs and looked for the most common complaints. So I was looking into this one particular fitness program, and I noticed that people were saying over and over again that they didn't finish it or even make it past the first workout because it was just too hard and they felt completely overwhelmed. So I took that feedback to develop a product designed to make it as easy as possible to complete workouts while still being effective. My third tip is for the bloggers, which is to not rely on blog traffic alone to sell your course. If you're a blogger, then you definitely want to learn from my mistakes here. At the time that I launched my fitness program, my blog was getting 20 to 30,000 views per month through Pinterest and SEO traffic. And I thought to myself, well, my blog is about home fitness. Surely if I plug in a few blurbs about my program and create prominent links to the program, I'll get lots of sales. This was not the case. I have made some sales through my blog, but very, very few when you consider how many people were visiting that website every month. And that's because the vast majority of visitors to your blog are cold, right? They find your site because they wanted to know something specific. They looked it up on Google, they found your review, and once they got the information they wanted, they bounced from your site, never to return. So unless you can rank for a keyword that is directly related to your product, that has buyer intent, you're probably not going to make a lot of sales through your blog. In my experience, you're better off using that traffic to scoop people up onto your email list through an opt-in. And then you can either sell them a small product through a tripwire, and or you can nurture them for a few weeks and then pitch your main product to them. If you want to learn about what a tripwire is and how to set one up, I have a full length tutorial here where you can set one up for free. Okay, tip number 4 is to start small and keep your costs down. This is another lesson that I learned the hard way, because sometimes you just want something to work so badly, so you think to yourself, you know what, I'm just going to throw everything I have at this. I'm going to create a killer product. I'm going to pay for the best platform hosting. I'm going to pay for ads. I'm going to go the whole 9 yards. But trust me, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you not only won't get a good ROI, you might actually lose money. For example, I dropped a lot of money on Serial Starter Fix in the beginning. I paid for platform hosting on Teachable, I paid for ads, and in retrospect, there was just no need to go all out at the beginning. You can always start with a free platform and change to a paid one later on once you get some sales and it can sort of pay for itself. Similarly, I would never again get involved with ads without the course first being a success with my warm audience. In fact, I'm not sure that I will ever pay for ads again. Another thing I mean when I say to keep it small is to start with a beta version of your course. So maybe in your head, you're envisioning this massive comprehensive course that's 6 modules long with 30 hours of video content and worksheets and all this other great stuff. But man, that is a lot of content. And depending on the format of your course, this could take you a really long time to build, which can make it pretty overwhelming. I mean, it's almost like writing a book, right? So what you can do instead is to make a smaller version of your course to start that still covers everything the student needs to know, but in a more bite-sized way. And then you can sell it at a much lower rate, get your first students, get feedback on what they liked and what they didn't, and then you can build out the course over time. And this way, you don't get overwhelmed to the point of never making it. You can just keep adding to it, and each time you roll it out, you can sell it for more. Tip number 5 is to consider the format. Online courses can exist in all sorts of mediums. Pre-recorded videos are the most common approach, but it's not the only option. You can also do text-based lessons, or you can even do an email course, and then you don't even need a hosting platform outside of your email service provider. Another thing to think about is whether or not your course actually needs to be a course. Maybe it would be better suited as an ebook or a workbook or something else entirely. For example, I created a course called Figure Out Your Fitness, and it was designed to help people get into the right mindset to make healthy lifestyle changes. And there was like 9 different lessons, and it came with a workbook and a bunch of printable fitness trackers. But really, the printable tracker portion and the workbook was kind of the main event. It wasn't really so much about the lessons, and I realized it didn't really need to be a course. So I ended up condensing the whole thing into a PDF format and sold it as a downloadable product. Another example is the ebook I wrote about using affiliate links on Medium. When I started writing it, my intention was to turn it into a course. But after I finished drafting out the content, I realized it didn't really need to be a course. Everything was perfectly clear in the text format, and so I decided to sell it as an ebook instead. So it's not always clear cut, but just consider the various ways in which content can exist and think about how it would be most valuable to your customers. If it's something that's going to require a lot of tutorials or visual demonstrations, then a video course is definitely a good way to go. Otherwise, you have options. My last tip, and this is optional, is to use Jasper to draft your course content. So, as I mentioned earlier, creating the actual course can be pretty daunting, right? In most cases, you're going to need to write a script of some kind, and even if you start small, it can add up to a lot of words. So for instance, each video lesson I create is anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes long, with scripts between 17 and 4,000 words. Now let's say your course is only 3 modules with 5 lessons each. That's 15 videos at an average of 2,800 words per video. That's like 43,000 words of content in the whole course. So we're literally talking about writing a novel's worth of content here. And that can be pretty intimidating even if you are an experienced writer or blogger. That's why Jasper can be such a powerful tool to have in your toolbox, because he can help you craft drafts of your content in less than half the time, and it just makes the whole process so much less overwhelming. And if you really want to streamline the process, you can take advantage of my Jasper Course Crafter recipe, which is designed specifically for this purpose. So this recipe is essentially a set of pre-written instructions and commands that you can load up in a Jasper document at the click of a button. And from there, it will help you quickly come up with course ideas, course title ideas, course outlines, and the lesson content itself. The recipe is available to anyone who is or becomes a CWW Exclusive Plus member on my Patreon during the month of March. This month's content also includes a special lesson on how to find and choose a profitable blogging niche. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the details in the description box. And if you're not a Jasper user yet, you can also find a special referral link where you can give Jasper a try and get your first 10,000 words for free. So yeah, course creation can be a great way to make money, but it's also a lot of work up front, and there's a lot of potential pitfalls, most of which you will hopefully now avoid now that you know about them. In case you have any questions about creating courses or digital products or building an audience or Jasper or anything like that, drop them below and I'll get back to you. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Check out this video I mentioned on how to get started with tripwires, and I'll see you there.